The first thing Huey noticed was the crowd. There were always crowds when Vought showed up. Crowds meant phones. Phones meant videos. Videos meant money. Today's rescue was happening right in the middle of a busy street. Vought banners hung from light poles like it was a holiday. A stage had been built near a smashed-up car. Smoke machines puffed out gray clouds to make it look worse than it was. Huey stood behind a line of people, half hiding under a hoodie. Butcher stood next to him like he owned the sidewalk. "See?" Butcher muttered. "They don't save. They sell." A woman in a Vought jacket waved her arms and shouted into a headset. A few victims screamed too neatly. A cameraman adjusted his angle like he was filming a music video. Then the air changed. It wasn't a wind. It wasn't thunder. It felt like the world blinked. A sound cut through the street, not a siren, not a jet. A deep, grinding wheeze, like an old engine trying to start. People looked up. A blue box fell out of nowhere. It did not drift down gently. It dropped hard, like it had been thrown. It slammed into the street right beside the stage. The impact shook the ground. A Vought banner pole snapped and clattered across the pavement. The smoke machines toppled over and blasted fog straight into a camera lens. The crowd screamed. Then they did what crowds always did. They lifted their phones. The blue box stood there, slightly crooked. It looked like a police box from a museum. The paint was scuffed. The sign on top was old and cracked. One window was cracked, too. The door swung open. A man stepped out fast, like he'd been late for something important. He was tall and slim in a rumpled coat. His hair was messy. His eyes moved like they were reading a whole room at once. He looked at the stage. He looked at the victims. He looked at the cameras. He looked at the Vought staff. Then he said, bright and loud, "Right, sorry, terrible parking. I'll just—" He stopped. His smile faded a little. He walked toward a man trapped under a fake beam. The beam was too clean. The man's fear was real, but the setup wasn't. Huey could tell. The new guy could tell faster. The man in the coat crouched. He pulled out a small metal tool. It buzzed and whined as he pointed it at the beam. "What is that?" Huey whispered. Butcher didn't answer. Butcher's eyes were locked on the blue box. The tool chirped. The man's face tightened. He tapped the beam with his fingers. Then he looked up at the nearest camera and said, "Calm now. You're using a hollow prop with a breakaway seam. You've got a hidden hydraulic under the stage. And you've got 3 people in headsets timing the screams." A Vought handler froze. The crowd went quiet for half a second. Then the yelling started. The cameras moved in like hungry animals. "Who are you?" someone shouted. The man stood up and brushed dust off his coat. "I'm—" He paused, as if choosing the safest answer. "I'm someone who doesn't like watching people get hurt for ratings." A ripple went through the Vought team. A guard stepped forward, and then another shadow fell over the street. Huey felt it in his stomach before he saw it. Homelander dropped from the sky and landed on the stage with a small crack in the pavement. He smiled for the cameras like a favorite toy had been returned. He looked at the blue box. He looked at the strange man. His smile stayed, but his eyes sharpened. "Okay," Homelander said, voice friendly. "Who's this supposed to be?" The man in the coat met his stare without flinching. He didn't bow. He didn't beg. He didn't pretend to be impressed. He said almost gently, "You're not here to help. You're here to be seen helping." Homelander's smile twitched. The man took one step forward, as if he was walking up to a nervous dog. "And you," he added, quieter, "are terrified that one day they stop clapping." For a moment, the street felt like it had no air. Homelander's jaw tightened. His eyes flicked to the cameras, back to the man. Then he laughed, a bright, practiced laugh. "Oh, wow," Homelander said. "This guy's funny." The man glanced back at the blue box. The door had swung shut on its own. The box seemed tense, like it was holding its breath. The man's brow furrowed. He turned back to Homelander and the cameras and forced a quick smile. "Right," he said. "So, new place, new rules, and something is very wrong." He looked past the crowd, past the lights, like he could see through walls. Then, under his breath, just loud enough for Huey to hear, because Huey was too close and too lucky, he whispered, "Something here is eating the timeline." Butcher grabbed Huey's arm. "Get the box," Butcher hissed. "Now!" And Huey realized the blue box wasn't the weirdest thing on the street. The weirdest thing was that Homelander had not killed that man. Yet. Not while the cameras were watching. Not yet. The alley behind the street stank like garbage and old rain. Huey tried to breathe through his mouth, but that didn't help much. They had moved fast. Too fast for Huey to feel clever about it. 1 second, the crowd was surging. The next, Butcher was pushing him through a side gap toward the blue box, as if Butcher had known the exact path all along. The man in the coat had noticed them. Of course he had. His eyes had snapped to Huey, like he'd been waiting for someone in a hoodie to do something stupid. Butcher didn't ask for permission. He grabbed the man by the sleeve and yanked him toward the alley. The man did not panic. He didn't shout. He ran with them, coat flapping, and shouted over his shoulder, "No guns! Whatever you do, no guns!" Butcher snorted. "Yeah? We'll see." The blue box made a low, unhappy groan as they reached it. The man pressed his palm against the door like he was calming a frightened animal. "Easy," he said. "I'm here. I'm here." Huey stared at the door. It was just a door. It did not look like a spaceship. It looked like a prank. Then the man pulled a key from his pocket. It was an old key, the kind Huey had only seen in movies. He shoved it into the lock and turned. The door opened. Huey's brain refused what his eyes showed him. Inside was not a small box. Inside was a room. A huge room. Metal rails, rounded walls, warm lights. A strange central column that looked like it had been built by someone who had never seen a straight line and didn't care. Huey stumbled. "No! No! That's—" Butcher shoved him inside. "Move!" The man followed last and slammed the door. The sound outside muffled instantly, like the world had been wrapped in thick cloth. Huey spun in a slow circle, mouth hanging open. Butcher, somehow, looked more annoyed than amazed. "Right," Butcher said. "Either I'm having a stroke or that's bigger on the inside." The man leaned against the door, breathing hard for the first time. "Yes," he said. "That's... yes. Thank you. Good observation." Huey finally found his voice. "Who are you?" The man looked at them, then at the strange room, then up as if he could hear a noise nobody else could. He said, I'm the doctor." Butcher squinted. "Doctor what?" "Just the doctor," the man said quickly, like giving a last name would cause an explosion. Huey swallowed. "Doctor. Okay. Doctor. That thing outside, Homelander. He was going to—" "I know," the doctor said, and there was a flash in his eyes that made Huey's skin prickle. "I've met that type before." Butcher stepped closer. "You some kind of soup?" The doctor blinked, then looked offended in a small, tired way. "No." Butcher waved a hand around the room. "Then what the hell is this?" "This," the doctor said, patting the door like it was a pet, "is the TARDIS." Butcher stared. "The what?" "It's a ship," the doctor said. "It travels." Huey's voice shook. "Travels where?" The doctor hesitated, then said, "Time. Space. Places you shouldn't be able to reach." Butcher's eyes narrowed with the kind of hunger Huey hated. "So you're a bloody walking cheat code." The doctor's face hardened. "I'm a person." Butcher laughed once. "Everyone's a person." The doctor moved away from the door, and took 3 quick steps toward the central column. His fingers danced over switches and panels. Screens flickered on with symbols Huey couldn't read. "Okay," the doctor muttered. "Where are we? Where? No, that's wrong. That's not right at all." Huey glanced at Butcher. Should we stop him?" Butcher didn't answer. Butcher was staring at the doctor like he was staring at a weapon with a safety he couldn't find. The doctor pulled out the buzzing tool again. He scanned the air. The tool chirped in a way that sounded worried. Then the doctor went still. His shoulders tensed, like he'd heard a scream far away. Huey watched his face change. The bright energy dulled. The joke-ready smile vanished. "What?" Huey asked. The doctor spoke softly, as if loud words might make it worse. "Something followed me," he said. Or, "Something noticed me." Butcher stepped closer. "Who?" The doctor looked at them. "I don't know yet," he said, "but I know what it feels like when the universe has a splinter in it." Huey didn't understand the words, but he understood the fear behind them. Butcher did understand the fear. Butcher smiled at it. "Good," Butcher said. "Then you and me are going to get along fine." The doctor stared at him, and for a moment Huey thought the doctor might actually shout. Instead, the doctor said, "Where am I?" Butcher's smile widened. "Welcome to America. And welcome to Vought's playground." Huey swallowed again. "We should go. They'll be looking." The doctor's eyes flicked to the door. "Yes, they will." He reached toward the controls again, and his voice went gentle, like he was talking to the TARDIS. "Can you take us away from the crowd?" he asked. The TARDIS made a deep groaning sound. The lights flickered. The floor vibrated under Huey's feet. Then everything stopped. The doctor's hand froze in midair. He tried again. Another groan. Another flicker. Nothing. The doctor's face fell. "Oh," he whispered. "No." Butcher leaned in. "What?" The doctor didn't look at him. He stared at the dead panels like he was staring at a friend who wouldn't wake up. "We're stuck," he said. Huey felt cold all over. "Stuck where?" The doctor swallowed. "Here," he said. "In your world." Butcher's grin came back fast, sharp as broken glass. "Perfect," Butcher said. "Then you're ours." The doctor turned slowly. "No," he said, quiet but firm. "I'm not." They didn't stay in the TARDIS. Butcher said it was too obvious, which was a wild thing to say about a giant blue box that shouldn't exist. But Butcher had a point. If Vought got a helicopter overhead, they'd spot it fast. So they moved the TARDIS. Huey did not understand how you moved something like that. But the doctor did. He pushed on the TARDIS doorframe and muttered, "Come on, come on." Then the box made a low wheeze and slid, not across the ground, but through the world, like it was finding a gap. It ended up in a dark, empty warehouse that smelled like old paint and wet wood. Huey stood panting, hands on his knees, while Butcher checked the windows. The doctor didn't rest. He kept scanning, buzzing, checking. Arrived next, eyes hard and focused. He looked at the TARDIS, then at the doctor, then at Huey. "What is that?" asked. Huey tried to answer and failed. "It's bigger," Butcher said. "Magic box. Magic man." Stepped toward the doctor. "Name?" The doctor straightened. "The doctor." Mm's face didn't change. "Real name?" The doctor's eyes narrowed. "That is my name." Looked at Butcher. "This another one of your dumb stunts?" Butcher shrugged. "I didn't build the bloody box." Circled the doctor like he was measuring him. "You with Vought?" "No," the doctor said. "And if you are, you're doing a very bad job hiding it." Stopped. "What's that supposed to mean?" The doctor pointed at Mm's belt. "You've got duct tape, spare batteries, a radio from about 10 years ago, and a knife that's been sharpened too often. Vought's men don't carry their own tools. They carry brand new gear and a team to use it for them. Stared at him for a second. Huey almost smiled. It was the first time someone had made pause without punching. Butcher broke the moment. He's not Vought. He hates them already. And he can help us. The doctor looked tired. Help you do what? Butcher leaned in. Kill Soups. The doctor's head snapped up. No. Butcher's smile faded. Excuse me. The doctor spoke slowly, like he was choosing each word. I don't kill. Butcher's eyes went flat. Then you're useless. Huey stepped between them before Butcher could say something worse. He exposed them on camera. That's not nothing. The doctor looked at Huey, and his face softened a little. Thank you. Crossed his arms. You don't kill. Fine. But you can still get people killed if you don't understand what this world is. I understand more than you think, the doctor said. Butcher scoffed. You don't. This world chews up nice little heroes and spits out bones. The doctor took a breath. Then stop trying to be the thing you hate. Butcher's face twitched. For a second, Huey thought Butcher might punch him. Instead, Butcher stepped back and laughed like it was a joke. Cute, Butcher said. You're going to last 5 minutes. The doctor didn't flinch. Try me. MM's phone buzzed. He checked it and cursed under his breath. What? Huey asked. Showed them the screen. A news alert. Vought had already spun the street scene into a terror attack. The blue box was labeled Unknown Device. The man in the coat was an unidentified hostile with advanced tech. Huey's stomach sank. That fast? Butcher nodded. They own the story, Huey. The doctor stared at the headline like it was a stain spreading across paper. You let them do this, he said. Bristled. You think we like it? No, the doctor said. I think you got used to it. That landed hard. Even Butcher went quiet for half a beat. Then the warehouse door creaked. A figure stepped inside, hands raised. Starlight. Annie January looked like she'd slept badly for weeks. Her eyes were sharp. Her posture was tense, like she expected a knife in the back at any second. Huey's heart jumped. Annie! She held up a finger. Not here, she said. Butcher's hand went to his weapon. The doctor's head tilted, curious, alert, but not scared. Starlight looked at the TARDIS. Her eyes widened. That's real, she whispered. Then she looked at the doctor. You, she said. You're not one of us. The doctor nodded. No. Starlight took a cautious step closer. Homelander's furious, she said. He's acting worse than normal. Butcher snorted. So, Tuesday. Starlight ignored him and kept her eyes on the doctor. Vought wants you, she said. They're calling you a terrorist. They're also calling you a potential asset. The doctor sighed. Of course they are. Starlight swallowed. So, what are you? The doctor hesitated, just long enough for Huey to feel the weight of it. Then the doctor said, I help. Butcher laughed. That's not an answer. It's the only one that matters, the doctor snapped, and the sharpness in his voice surprised Huey. The doctor took a breath and softened again. Look, I travel. I see problems. I fix them. Usually. Studied him. Usually? The doctor glanced at the TARDIS. Sometimes the problem is bigger than me, he admitted. Sometimes I fail. Butcher leaned in with cruel interest. And what happens when you fail? The doctor's eyes turned cold. People die, he said. Silence filled the warehouse. Huey felt his throat tighten. Starlight's face did something like understanding. It wasn't trust, but it wasn't mocking either. What do you want? She asked the doctor. The doctor's gaze flicked to her, then to Huey, then to M.E.M. then back to the dead warehouse lights above them. "I want my ship safe," he said. "I want to know why it landed here. I want to know what's wrong with your world's signal, and I want to stop anyone from turning fear into a weapon." Butcher's smile was slow and dangerous. "That last part," he said, "that's Vought." The doctor nodded. "Then we have a problem." Rubbed his forehead like he was already tired. "Okay," said. "Rule 1. You don't do anything without telling us. No wandering off, no weird tricks." The doctor lifted a brow. "That's adorable." Glared. "I mean it." The doctor nodded, but his eyes said he was already planning. Starlight stepped closer, voice low. "You need to understand something," she said. "Homelander doesn't lose. Not in public. Not ever." The doctor's mouth tightened. "Then I won't fight him in public," he said. Butcher looked disappointed. "Ah, no fireworks." The doctor looked at Butcher. "Fireworks are easy," he said. "Changing a system that rewards monsters, that's hard." Butcher rolled his eyes. "There it is. Speech." The doctor pointed the sonic at the air again. It chirped. The doctor's shoulders tensed. "What?" Huey asked. The doctor stared at the device like it was telling him a secret. "There's a signal," the doctor said. "In your broadcasts, in your screens, in your phones." Starlight frowned. "Vaught's tracking stuff?" "No," the doctor said. "This is different." He walked to a dusty old TV in the corner of the warehouse. He flicked it on. Static filled the screen. A faint hiss, like a whisper trying to become words. The doctor held up the sonic. It whined. Then, for a second, the static did something. It seemed to lean. Huey felt the hairs on his arms rise. The doctor switched the TV off fast. "What was that?" Starlight asked. The doctor swallowed. "Something listening," he said. Butcher scoffed, but his voice was quieter now. "Listening to what?" The doctor looked at them, and his face was very serious. "Me," he said. "And now, you." They didn't have long. Vought moved like a machine, not a clumsy machine, a polished one. The next day, the doctor learned what it meant to fight a machine made of money. He tried to walk outside to get a feel for the city, as he put it. Stopped him at the warehouse door. "Where's your ID?" "My what?" "ID," said, like he was speaking to a child. The doctor patted his coat pockets. "I have pockets. Very good pockets." Huey watched him pull out random things. String, a small metal tube, a worn notebook, a candy wrapper that might have been 50 years old. No wallet? No card? No phone. Stared. "You don't have a phone?" "I have a ship," the doctor said. Butcher laughed. "Good luck buying a sandwich with that, mate." The doctor blinked. "I don't need a sandwich." Huey muttered. "Everyone needs a sandwich." Butcher pointed at Huey. "See? The twink gets it." The doctor gave Butcher a look like he was 1 second away from turning Butcher into a frog. Huey didn't think the doctor could do that. But the look still worked. They took the doctor out anyway, in a way that didn't look like a group of criminals with a magic box alien. They split up. They kept heads down. They avoided cameras. It almost worked. Then they hit the first problem. A security gate. A simple gate with a simple sign. Employees only. Scan badge. The doctor stepped forward like the sign was a polite suggestion. A loud beep sounded. A red light flashed. A voice from a speaker said, "Access denied." The doctor stared at the speaker as if it had insulted him personally. Huey couldn't help it. He laughed once. The doctor looked at him. "What?" "It's just," Huey said, still smiling. "You can travel through time, but you can't get through a gate." The doctor huffed. "Oh, I can get through the gate," he said. "I just don't want to start a war with a gate." Butcher leaned in. "Start the war." The doctor pulled out the sonic and pointed it at the scanner. The device whined, then chirped. The gate clicked open. The doctor grinned like he'd won a prize. Then every alarm in the hallway lit up at once. Red lights. Loud sirens. A voice blared, "Security breach!" The doctor's grin vanished. Grabbed him. "You just tripped their system!" "I opened the gate," the doctor protested. "But you opened it wrong!" hissed. They ran. Huey's lungs burned as they ducked through a door and down a stairwell. The doctor kept up easily, somehow, like he was used to running. Butcher glanced back. "See? He's fun!" The doctor snapped. "This isn't fun!" They escaped into a back alley, crouched behind dumpsters, and waited until the sirens faded into the distance. The doctor pressed both hands to his face. "This world," he muttered, "is built to catch people." Huey swallowed. "Yeah." The doctor lowered his hands. His eyes were bright with anger now, but not the wild anger Butcher had. This was controlled. Focused. "Tell me about Vought," the doctor said. Butcher smiled. "Now you're speaking my language." They told him. Not everything. Not all at once. But enough. They told him about the Seven, about Compound V, about the lies, about the bodies hidden under shiny slogans. They told him about Homelander's temper, about his lasers, about how he could hear a heartbeat from across a room. The doctor listened like he was building a map inside his head. Then he asked one question that made Huey blink. "How does he sleep?" the doctor said. Butcher frowned. "What?" "How does Homelander sleep?" the doctor repeated. "How do you convince a man like that to close his eyes?" Stared. "You planning to kill him in his bed?" The doctor's head snapped up. "No." Butcher rolled his eyes. "Then why do you care?" The doctor spoke carefully. "Because power isn't the problem," he said. "It's fear. He's afraid of being weak. So he never rests. He never stops performing. That means he makes mistakes." Starlight, walking with them now, went quiet. "That's..." she started, then stopped. The doctor looked at her. "That's what?" he asked, gentler. "It's true," Starlight admitted. "He's always watching. Always listening." The doctor nodded once, like that confirmed something. Then the doctor turned his sonic to the air again. "Now," he said, "tell me about your media." Butcher groaned. No," the doctor said sharply. "Your screens, your feeds, your stories. Vought doesn't just sell heroes. They sell feelings. They pump fear. They pump worship." Huey nodded slowly. "Yeah," he said. "They control what people think." The doctor's jaw tightened. "Then your world is a perfect hunting ground." "Hunting ground for what?" asked. The doctor didn't answer right. Away. They reached a corner. A big billboard towered above them. Homelander's face smiled down from it, bright and perfect. The doctor stared at the billboard, and for the first time since he arrived, Huey saw something like real disgust on the doctor's face. "It's not just Vought," the doctor said quietly. "Something else is in there." Starlight's eyes narrowed. "In where?" The doctor pointed up at the billboard, then at the phone in Huey's hand. "In the story," he said. Vought made their move 2 nights later. They did not send police. Police were messy. Police asked questions. They sent public safety. Men in clean black armor, trucks with Vought logos, drones that hovered like insects, a few low-level supes in tactical suits, faces hidden. They also sent an offer first. A sleek woman with perfect hair and a too-wide smile showed up on a screen in the warehouse. It was a pre-recorded message, made to look personal. "Hello," she said. "We are so glad you're safe. We are concerned about the confusion around your device. We want to help you. We want to give you a platform." The doctor stared at the screen like it had just tried to bite him. The woman continued. Join the Seven as our newest hero. We will protect you. We will give you resources. We will help you repair your technology. All we ask is that you work with us, under a standard hero contract, to keep the public safe. Butcher laughed out loud. A contract, he said. They want to leash you. The doctor's voice was very calm. Turn it off. Huey clicked the TV off. Silence filled the warehouse. Spoke first. They found us, he said. Starlight's face went pale. They're coming, she said. The doctor walked to the TARDIS and put his hand on its door, as if he could protect it just by touching it. Where's the TARDIS key? Butcher asked. The doctor's head turned slowly. Why? Butcher shrugged. In case we need to. Move it! The doctor's stare said, very clearly, not a chance. Then the doctor's sonic chirped again, fast and anxious. He looked at the readout. His eyes widened. They're not just coming, he said. They're doing something. Outside, the air buzzed. A low hum started, like a giant machine powering up. Huey ran to a cracked window and peeked out. Vought trucks rolled into the street. Floodlights snapped on. Drones floated up and aimed straight at the warehouse. Then Huey saw what made his stomach drop even harder. They weren't aiming only at the warehouse. They were aiming at the alley behind it, at the spot where the blue box sat. A device was being unloaded. Big, heavy, covered in cables. It looked like a metal ring cut in half with strange panels bolted to its sides. Men in lab coats moved around it, shouting instructions. What is that? Huey whispered. The doctor shoved past him and stared through the window. His face went white. That, the doctor said, voice tight, is a very bad idea. Starlight stepped beside him. Is it a weapon? The doctor shook his head slowly. It's a net, he said. And they don't know what they're trying to catch. Butcher's smile appeared. Let them catch it, he said. Then it kills them. The doctor spun on him, furious. No, he snapped. If they pull the wrong thread, they won't just hurt themselves. They'll tear something open. Grabbed his gun. We need an exit. Starlight looked at Huey. We can't let them take that box, she said. Huey's heart hammered. We can't fight all that. The doctor's voice turned sharp and fast, like a storm made of words. We're not fighting all that, he said. We're saving people. There are civilians out there. Those drones don't care if a child gets crushed. Butcher grunted. Welcome to the world. The doctor pointed at the door. We move the fight away, he said. We pull their attention. We stop them powering that thing up, and we do it now. They moved. led them through a back tunnel that ran under the warehouse. Frenchie had built it years ago for emergencies. It smelled like damp concrete and old oil. They came out 3 blocks away, behind a row of closed shops. The street ahead was lit up bright as day by Vought floodlights. A small crowd had already gathered at the edge of the cordon, people filming, people shouting. Vought guards pushed them back. Huey saw a mother holding a little boy on her hip, trying to peek past a guard's arm. The boy looked scared and excited at the same time. Huey's throat tightened. The doctor saw them too. First, the doctor said, we get civilians back, away from the ring. Starlight nodded. She stepped out into the light, hands raised, playing her role. Hey, she called. Back up! Everyone back! The guards froze when they saw her. Cameras swung toward her. People screamed her name. Butcher hissed. Careful. If you show face, They already will, Starlight said under her breath, and stepped forward anyway. Huey moved with her, trying to guide people back without getting trampled. Stayed in shadow, scanning for threats. The doctor slipped through the chaos like he was made for it. Not the fighting part. The moving part. the knowing where to stand part. He was already watching the device. The ring hummed louder now. A man in a lab coat shouted, "Power to 80%!" The doctor's eyes narrowed. He lifted the sonic and aimed it at the device from far away. It whined. Then it screeched. The doctor flinched, as if the sound had stabbed his ear. "No," he breathed. "No, no, no!" Starlight looked at him. "What?" The doctor's voice dropped low. "They're trying to lock onto the TARDIS," he said. "They're using a signal pattern they shouldn't have." Butcher's smile returned. "And when they do?" The doctor swallowed. "Then the TARDIS fights back," he said. "And you don't want to be standing nearby when it does." A new shadow dropped from the sky. Not on the stage this time. Not for show. Homelander landed on the roof of a truck and stared down at the street like a king staring at insects. The crowd went silent. The guards straightened. Homelander's smile was not friendly now. It was thin. He looked right at Starlight first, then at Huey. Then his eyes found the doctor. Huey's blood turned to ice. How did he find him so fast? Homelander's voice carried easily. "There you are," he said. The doctor didn't step back. He didn't step forward either. He stayed still, like he was measuring the distance between them and every person in the street. Homelander floated down from the truck roof, slow and controlled. "You made me look stupid," Homelander said, still loud enough for cameras. "That's not something people do." The doctor's face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "I didn't make you look anything," he said. "You did." Homelander's eyes flicked red for a fraction of a second. A warning. "Careful," Homelander said softly. "You don't know who you're talking to." The doctor said. "I know exactly who I'm talking to." A beat. The ring behind them surged. The hum rose into a howl. The floodlights flickered. Every phone screen in the crowd flashed at once, like the world was blinking again. People gasped and stumbled. The doctor snapped his head toward the device. "They've started it," he said. Then the air did something impossible. For 1 second, the street looked wrong. Straight lines bent. The edges of buildings wavered. The billboard above them shimmered like it was made of hot glass. Huey felt dizzy. He blinked hard, thinking he might faint. The crowd cried out. Homelander's head turned sharply. Even he looked confused for half a heartbeat. The doctor moved. Fast. He grabbed Huey by the arm and shoved him backward, away from the ring. "Move!" he shouted. Huey stumbled, dragging the mother and her little boy with him. Starlight shoved people back too, light sparking in her hands to scare them away from the cordon. MM fired a shot into the air to force the crowd to scatter. Butcher didn't move. Butcher watched Homelander like he was watching the moment before a bomb goes off. Homelander stepped forward, eyes locked on the doctor again. He didn't like confusion. Confusion meant he wasn't in control. "You did this," Homelander said. "No," the doctor said. "You did. By letting them build that." Homelander's face twisted. His temper snapped like a wire. He shot forward. Not walking. Not jogging. He moved like a missile. The doctor didn't try to punch him. He didn't try to block him. He did the only smart thing. He moved the battlefield. The doctor turned and ran straight toward the ring device. Huey's heart stopped. "Doctor!" Homelander followed, faster than thought. Starlight screamed, "No!" The doctor skidded beside the device. Lab workers scattered, terrified. The doctor shoved the sonic into a panel seam and twisted hard. Sparks flew. The sonic screamed. Homelander reached him. Homelander grabbed the doctor by the coat and lifted him off the ground. "Do you want to die?" Homelander snarled. The doctor's feet dangled, his coat collar pulled tight at his throat. He still didn't look away. "No!" the doctor rasped. "Do you?" Homelander's eyes narrowed. The doctor jerked his chin at the ring. The device flared. A wave of distortion rolled across the street like a shockwave, but it wasn't air. It was time. For a second, Huey saw the same moment twice. A guard stepping left, then stepping left again. A drone tilting, then tilting again. A woman screamed, then screamed again. Same scream, same pitch, like a loop. Huey's stomach flipped. Homelander's head turned, sharply, just for a moment. That moment was all the doctor needed. The doctor slammed the sonic into the panel again and shouted, "Open!" The ring device snapped wider. A thin line of darkness appeared in the middle of it. Not a hole, not a shadow. A line where the world seemed to stop. The doctor's eyes went wide with horror. "That's it," he whispered. "That's the bite." Homelander saw it too. He didn't understand it, but he could feel it. He could feel something that didn't fear him. His grip tightened on the doctor. The doctor coughed, but he forced the words out anyway. "Turn it off," he told the lab workers. "Turn it off now." A lab worker shook his head, terrified. "We can't." "It's—" Homelander's laser eyes flickered. The lab worker froze. Then the lab worker lunged for a switch and slammed it down. The device did not power down. It powered up. The hum became a roar. The line of darkness widened into a thin, twisting gap. And from every phone screen in the street, the static hiss rose. Huey heard it like a whisper right next to his ear, even though the phone in his pocket was off. The doctor's face changed, not into fear, into anger. Real anger. He looked at Homelander, voice rough. "Let me go," he said. Homelander leaned close. "Why?" "Because if I don't fix this," the doctor said, "your whole world is going to learn what it means to be prey." Homelander's lip curled. "Prey?" The doctor's eyes locked on his. "Yes," he said. "Prey." Homelander hesitated. It wasn't kindness. It wasn't trust. It was pride. Homelander couldn't stand the idea of something hunting him. So he threw the doctor down, not gently, but not as hard as he could have. The doctor hit the ground, rolled, and popped up, coughing. He sprinted to the device controls. MM shouted, "What do we do?" The doctor shouted back, "Get them away from the phones! Away from the screens! Keep people moving!" Huey stared, confused. "Why phones?" The doctor didn't have time to explain. He ripped open a panel and yanked cables free with bare hands. Sparks burned his fingers. He didn't even flinch. Starlight blasted a drone out of the air. It crashed into the street and exploded in a shower of metal. Kimiko, who had been hidden until now, shot forward into the cordon like a silent storm. She tore through 2 guards and tossed them aside, not killing them, but breaking their grip and clearing a path for civilians. Frenchie appeared with a bag of gear, swearing in French as he threw smoke bombs into the street to block camera lines. Butcher used the smoke to slip closer to Homelander. Huey saw the gun in Butcher's hand. Huey's breath caught. "Butcher." "No." Butcher's eyes were locked on Homelander's back like a starving man looking at a meal. The doctor saw it too. He looked up from the sparking panel and shouted, raw and furious, "No guns!" Butcher hesitated for half a second. Homelander turned his head, just slightly, sensing the intent like a smell. Butcher stopped. Not because he suddenly became good, because Homelander would kill them all if he tried. The ring device shuddered. The dark gap widened 1 more inch. The air went cold, and the static whisper became words, not clear words, but shaped sounds. Huey couldn't understand them, but he felt them. They felt like a hand pressing on the back of his neck. The doctor slammed the sonic into the central core and screamed, "Enough!" The sonic let out a piercing tone. The device screamed back. The streetlights flickered in a fast rhythm, like a heartbeat. Homelander looked around, angry and unsettled. "This is stupid," he shouted. "Stop it!" the doctor shouted back. "I'm trying!" He ripped the last cable free and shoved his hands into the open panel, touching 2 contacts together. A burst of light exploded outward. For a second, Huey saw the street in sharp detail. Every face, every phone, every frightened eye. Then the ring device collapsed in on itself with a loud crack. The dark gap snapped shut like a mouth biting. The hum died. The floodlights steadied. The phones in the crowd went black for half a second. People stumbled, dizzy, coughing, crying. Huey's knees almost gave out from relief. Then the doctor froze. He looked at the dead device. He lifted the sonic and scanned the air again. The sonic chirped. The doctor's face fell. "No," he whispered. Starlight rushed to him. "We stopped it," she said. "We stopped it, right?" The doctor swallowed. "We stopped the machine," he said. "But?" MM asked. The doctor's eyes flicked to the crowd, to their phones as screens came back on, to the nearby billboard where Homelander's smile still shone down. "The signal got out," the doctor said. Huey frowned. "What signal?" The doctor's voice was quiet, like he didn't want to make it real by saying it loud. "The hungry part," he said. "The thing listening." Homelander stepped forward, face hard. "What are you talking about?" The doctor looked at him. Then the doctor looked past him, to a phone screen a teenager was holding up again, already recording. The screen showed the street. It showed the doctor. And for the briefest second, the image on the screen did not match reality. The doctor on the screen smiled. The doctor in real life did not. The screen doctor's eyes looked too dark, and the static hissed like a laugh. The teenager blinked, and the image went normal again. Nobody else noticed, but the doctor did. He backed up 1 step, like the air had turned sharp. Homelander watched him with growing anger, but also something new. Unease. "You're a problem," Homelander said. The doctor's voice was calm, but it shook slightly with pressure. "So are you," he said. "But you're not the worst one." Homelander's eyes flared red. "Say that again." The doctor didn't. He didn't have to. Because Vought's drones were already pulling back. Not because they were scared. Because the footage was enough. Because the story was already being written. A loudspeaker crackled to life from a truck. "This is Vought International!" a voice boomed. "The terrorist known as the Boxman has attacked a public safety operation. Citizens are advised to remain indoors. Anyone with information will be rewarded." Butcher laughed bitterly. "There it is," he said. Huey looked at the doctor. "Boxman?" The doctor stared at the trucks, the cameras, the billboards, the way fear was being packaged in real time. He looked older in that moment. Not in face. In weight. "We have to move," MM said. Starlight grabbed Huey's hand and pulled him back into the smoke. Butcher lingered, staring at Homelander, then turned away. The doctor took one last look at the dead ring device. He whispered, almost to himself, "You fed it." Then he ran, with them, into the dark. Behind them, in 1,000 pockets and hands, screens glowed. And somewhere inside that glow, something listened. By morning, the whole world had decided what the blue box meant. Huey watched it happen on a cracked laptop in a grimy motel room. The headline changed every 10 minutes. The words got sharper each time. Mystery terrorist attacks. Vought rescue. Alien device causes mass panic. New soup? New threat? The video loops were everywhere. The moment the blue box hit the street. The moment Homelander smiled too hard. The moment the lights flickered and people screamed. They cut out the part where Vought's own machine started it. They cut out the part where the doctor dragged civilians away from danger. They kept the parts that made the doctor look strange and scary. Huey felt sick. Across the room, Butcher sat on the bed with a beer like it was breakfast. He looked pleased in a cold way. "See, Huey," Butcher said. "They can turn a kitten into a serial killer if it helps their stock price." Stood by the window, watching the parking lot. His hand rested near his weapon. Not relaxed. Never relaxed. Starlight sat at the small table, elbows on wood, staring at nothing. She looked like she was holding herself together with thin string. And the doctor? The doctor stood near the bathroom sink, staring at a printed sheet of paper like it was an enemy. Frenchie had printed it at a copy shop down the street. He'd even stapled it. It was a public safety notice from Vought, and the doctor was reading it like it was a crime scene. "There," the doctor said, suddenly tapping the page. "That's the trick." Butcher didn't look up. "The trick is they lie, mate." "Yes, but this is the shape of the lie," the doctor snapped. He pointed again. "They don't say I attacked civilians. They say a public safety operation was disrupted. That makes it sound like the operation was good. They don't say their equipment caused the distortion. They say unverified reports of an anomaly." Huey frowned. "So, they make it fuzzy. They make it safe," the doctor said. "They make it easy to swallow." Starlight's voice was flat. "They do that with everything." The doctor looked at her, and his anger softened into something like sadness. "Yes," he said. "And you live inside it." Huey's phone buzzed. He flinched so hard he almost dropped it. He hadn't turned it on since the street. He didn't want to see the static again. The screen lit up anyway. A message popped up from an unknown number. "Congratulations. You've been selected for a special hero opportunity." Huey stared. Butcher barked a laugh. "Oh, that's rich." Snatched the phone and frowned at it. "They're pushing mass messages," he said. "They're phishing." The doctor leaned in, eyes sharp. "May I?" Hesitated, then handed it over like he was handing a loaded gun to someone he didn't trust. The doctor didn't touch the screen at first. He listened, like the phone had a sound only he could hear. Then he turned the phone slightly, catching the light on the glass. His face tightened. "There's something riding the signal," he said quietly. Huey swallowed. "Like tracking?" "No," the doctor said. "Not tracking." Butcher rolled his eyes. "Then what?" The doctor looked up, and for a second, Huey saw that same look from the street. The look that said the jokes were gone now. "Like hunger," the doctor said. Starlight's shoulders rose a little, like she wanted to argue, but didn't know how. Eyes narrowed. "Explain." The doctor took a breath. "Your world is noisy," he said. "Not sound noisy, story noisy. Screens everywhere. People watching, people arguing, people worshipping." Butcher scoffed. "Welcome to Earth, mate." The doctor didn't blink. "No," he said. "Not like this. This is concentrated, built, managed." Starlight's jaw clenched. The doctor nodded at her, like he understood without being told. "Vought didn't just sell heroes," he said. "They built a feeding ground, and that thing they tried to use on the TARDIS." "The ring," Huey said. "Yes," the doctor said. "It wasn't a trap. It was a hook. It pulled at something it couldn't control." Butcher leaned forward. "So what is it? Some alien?" The doctor's voice dropped. "Not a body alien," he said. "A thought alien. A thing that lives in patterns, in repeating messages, in fear that spreads fast." Huey felt cold. "That sounds impossible." The doctor gave him a tired look. "So did the blue box," he said. Exhaled through his nose. "Okay," he said. "Even if you're right, how do we fight a thought?" The doctor stared at the phone again. "With truth," he said. Butcher snorted. "Truth doesn't stop Homelander's lasers." "No," the doctor agreed. "But truth stops people from clapping while he burns the world." That made the room go quiet. Starlight's eyes flicked up. Hope tried to show itself, then hid again. Butcher's face turned hard. "You're talking like a teacher," he said. "This is war." The doctor stepped closer. His voice stayed calm, but it had steel in it. "I have fought wars," he said. "I have watched worlds end because someone said, 'This is war,' and stopped caring who got crushed." Butcher's lips curled. "You don't know what it's like." The doctor's eyes flashed. "You don't know what it's like," he said back. "You've been staring at one monster so long you're starting to shape yourself like it." Butcher stood up fast. Huey tensed, ready for a punch. Moved a half step, ready to stop it. The doctor didn't move at all. Butcher stared at him, breathing heavy, then laughed like he'd heard a joke. "Fine," Butcher said. "You want to save people? Great. Start by saving us from being dead by tonight." As if the universe wanted to underline that, the motel TV flicked on by itself. A bright Vought logo filled the screen. An upbeat anchor smiled like nothing bad had ever happened. "And now, a special statement from Vought International," the anchor said. Ashley Barrett appeared. She looked perfect from the shoulders up. Her hair was set. Her makeup was flawless. But her eyes were tight, like she hadn't slept. "Last night," Ashley said, "a dangerous individual interfered with a public safety operation. Vought is working closely with local agencies to keep you safe." She paused. Then she smiled wider. "And because Vought always believes in second chances, we are extending an offer. To the individual known online as the Box Man, we would like to speak with you." Butcher barked, "Box Man," like it tasted bad. Ashley continued, "If you come forward peacefully, we will guarantee your safety. We will give you legal support, and we will give you a platform to explain yourself to the world." The doctor's hands curled into fists. Starlight whispered, "They're not offering safety. They're offering a cage." Nodded once. "And if you refuse, they call you a criminal forever." The doctor stared at Ashley's smile. Huey watched him carefully. The doctor looked tired, but his mind was moving fast. Huey could almost feel it. "Where would they take me?" the doctor asked. Butcher shrugged. "A lab, a stage, a leash." The doctor turned away from the TV. "We need to know what they built," he said. "We need to know who designed that ring device." Frenchie, half hidden near the door, lifted his hand. "I know a place," he said. "Old friend. Works in Vote tech support. Not top lab, but he hears things." Narrowed his eyes. "You trust him?" Frenchie gave a small shrug. "Trust is a big word," he said. "But he likes money." The doctor looked up. "Money," he repeated, as if the word was a puzzle piece. "Yes. That's your running theme, isn't it?" Butcher grinned. "Now you're getting it." They moved that night, quiet and careful. Huey stayed close to Starlight. He didn't like how the streets felt now, like every camera was a knife with eyes. The doctor wore a baseball cap that didn't fit his vibe at all. He looked like someone had dressed a professor for a school prank. He hated it. He kept tugging the brim down like it had personally offended him. "It's fine," Huey whispered. "You look normal." The doctor muttered, "Normal is overrated." They reached a small office above a closed nail salon. A cheap sign in the window said, "Phone repairs. No refunds." Frenchie knocked in a pattern. A man opened the door a crack. He looked tired and nervous, with oily hair and a hoodie too big for him. Frenchie smiled. "Bonjour, my friend." The man's eyes flicked past Frenchie to the doctor. He froze. "You're him," the man whispered. The doctor stepped forward gently. "Hello," he said. "I'm sorry about the chaos. I need help." The man swallowed. "Vought sent out a bulletin," he said. "They said if anyone helps you, they lose everything." The doctor nodded. Yes, he said softly. That's how bullies work. The man's jaw trembled. They said you're a terrorist. The doctor didn't argue. He just said, "Are you going to let them decide what you think?" That hit the man like a slap. He opened the door wider. Inside, the office smelled like burnt plastic. Old phones lay in pieces on the desk. A tiny fan rattled in the corner. The man shut the door fast and locked it. "Okay," he whispered. "Okay. What do you want to know?" The doctor leaned in. "That ring device," he said. "Who built it? Where did the math come from?" The man's eyes widened. "It wasn't normal," he said. "It wasn't even Vought normal. It came from a weird file, like a template, like instructions." "Who sent it?" asked. The man shook his head hard. "No name," he said. "Just, it appeared in the system, and people started acting like it was always there." Starlight's face tightened. "That happens," she said. "All the time. A policy shows up, and suddenly everybody says, 'It's always been policy.'" The doctor's eyes narrowed. "That's not policy," he murmured. "That's infection." Butcher scoffed. "You keep saying weird stuff." The doctor ignored him and looked at the man. "Show me the file." The man hesitated. "I can't. Vought tracks." The doctor held up the sonic. "I know," he said, "but I'm very good at making trackers feel confused." The man blinked, then slowly nodded. He pulled up an old desktop computer. The screen flickered like it was coughing. He clicked through folders with shaking hands. Huey leaned close. The file name was a string of numbers and letters. No label. The man opened it. The screen filled with symbols and diagrams. Huey understood none of it. The doctor understood too much of it. His face drained. "Oh," the doctor whispered. "Oh, that's bad." Starlight's voice was small. "What is it?" The doctor's fingers hovered over the keyboard, not touching. Like touching it might wake something. "This is a net designed to catch something that doesn't belong in your world," he said. "My ship. Or anything like it." Butcher's eyes lit up. "So they can catch more," he said. "More tech." The doctor's voice turned sharp. "Or they can tear open a hole so wide you don't get to have a world anymore." The man whimpered. "They told us it was safe." The doctor looked at him. "They told you what kept you quiet," he said. Huey stared at the symbols. "Can you fix it?" he asked the doctor. The doctor's jaw tightened. "I can stop the next version," he said. "But I need to get to the source, the place where this file came from." Asked. "Where?" The man swallowed. "There's a broadcast hub," he said. "A server farm. Vought runs their live feeds from there. News, hero cams, all of it." Starlight's eyes narrowed. "That's locked down," she said. Butcher smiled. "So we crack it." The doctor's gaze hardened. "We don't crack it," he said. "We cut it off. Before whatever's riding the signal learns to wear your whole world like a mask." Huey didn't like how that sounded, but he liked even less how the doctor looked when he said it. Like he was remembering something that had happened before. Something worse. The next day, Vought tried a softer weapon. Not trucks, not drones. Paper. Huey was eating stale cereal from a cup when the motel door knocked 3 times, sharp and official. Opened it with his body angled like a shield. A delivery man stood there with a clipboard and a small package. "Delivery for, The man glanced down. "Mr. Doctor." The doctor blinked. "That's not—" Butcher snatched the package and slammed the door. Inside was a folder. Thick, glossy, expensive. A Vought logo shined on the front. Butcher flipped it open and started reading out loud, mock serious. "Contract offer, hero affiliation agreement, non-disclosure, public appearance schedule." He looked up, grinning. "They've got you booked for a talk show, mate." The doctor stared at the paper, like it was radioactive. Huey leaned in and saw bright bullet points. Personal brand development, crisis response training, image consultation, approval rights for statements, mandatory sponsor partnerships. Starlight's mouth tightened. "That's a cage," she said again, quieter. Scanned the last page. "They want your signature," he said, "and your biometric scan." "Biometric," the doctor repeated. Butcher tapped the line with a finger. "Thumbprint, blood sample, nice and easy." The doctor's eyes flashed with anger. "Absolutely not," he said. Butcher spread his hands. "So what's the plan, Magic Man? You got a better way to move around without an ID? Without cash? Without a phone?" The doctor's mouth opened, then closed. He looked genuinely offended that money existed. Huey almost laughed, but then his phone buzzed again. This time, it was a video notification. "Live now. Homelander speaks." Huey didn't want to, but he tapped it anyway. Homelander's face filled the screen. Perfect hair, perfect teeth, perfect lie. "My fellow Americans," Homelander said warmly, "we've seen something frightening. Something we don't understand." Huey felt his stomach twist. The way Homelander said "we" like he cared. Homelander continued, "But don't worry. Vought is here. The 7 are here. I am here." His smile widened. "And to whoever you are," he said, leaning closer to the camera like he was talking to one person, "you can't hide forever." Huey glanced up. The doctor was staring at the phone, frozen. Not scared. Focused. Because behind Homelander's words, the stream had a faint hiss under the sound, a tiny static shimmer that shouldn't be there. The doctor whispered, "It's in the broadcast." Frowned. "What?" The doctor lifted his sonic. It chirped fast. "It's learning," the doctor said. "Vought is feeding it with every second of attention." Starlight's voice shook with anger. "So what do we do?" The doctor looked up at all of them. "We stop giving it the same story," he said. "We change the pattern." Butcher scoffed. "With what? A nicer PR team?" The doctor's eyes sharpened. "With the truth," he said again, "but not shouted. Placed." Stared at him. "Placed how?" The doctor's mind was already running. "A leak," he said. "A clean one. A big one. Something that can't be laughed off." Butcher's grin returned. "Now you're talking." The doctor pointed at the contract folder. "And we do it without signing our souls away," he said. "Because if we start using their tools, we become part of their machine." Butcher stepped closer. "And if your truth plan fails?" The doctor didn't blink. "Then we improvise," he said. "But we don't become them." Butcher's smile faded. "You keep saying that like it's easy." The doctor's voice went quiet. "It's not easy," he said. "It's just necessary." He looked at the TARDIS key in his hand. Then he looked at Starlight. "Where's that broadcast hub?" the doctor asked. Starlight swallowed. "Upstate," she said. "Vought calls it a security campus. It's got studios, servers, labs, the place where stories get made." The doctor nodded once. "Then that's where we go," he said. Exhaled. "That's a suicide mission." Butcher smiled like he was finally comfortable. "Good," he said. "Now we're back to normal." The doctor shot him a look. "Your normal is terrible," he said. Butcher shrugged. "Yeah," he said. "And it's all we've got." The doctor looked away, jaw tight. Huey could tell the doctor wanted to argue, wanted to fix Butcher too. But the doctor didn't. He knew you couldn't fix everything at once. Not in this world. The drive upstate was long and tense. Huey sat in the back seat with Starlight, watching trees blur past. The sky was gray, the kind of gray that made everything look tired. Butcher drove like he had a personal fight with speed limits. Sat in the passenger seat, watching the road. The doctor sat between Huey and Starlight, staring out the window like he was scanning more than trees. Every few minutes, he pulled out the sonic and pointed it at the glass. It chirped and whined. Then he frowned. "What are you doing?" Huey finally asked. The doctor didn't look away. "Listening," he said. "To what?" "The signal," the doctor said. "It's stronger near places with more screens, more feeds, more eyes." Starlight's voice was low. "You really think something is alive in our media?" The doctor turned to her, calm but firm. "I think something is behaving like a predator," he said. "It finds a pattern. It spreads. It uses fear. It uses worship." Starlight looked down at her hands. Huey watched her carefully. He knew that feeling. The feeling of realizing the world was worse than you thought. Butcher spoke without looking back. "So it's like a virus," he said. The doctor nodded. "Yes," he said. "A virus made of story." Said. "Then we cut off the source." The doctor nodded again. "And I need something," he added. Butcher snorted. "Here we go." The doctor ignored him. "The TARDIS is stuck," he said. "Not because it's weak, because it's misaligned, like a compass near a magnet." Huey frowned. "Can you fix it?" "Yes," the doctor said. "But I need an anchor, a piece of the distortion, a signature I can lock onto." Starlight's eyes narrowed. "You mean you need a sample?" The doctor gave her a small smile. "Yes," he said. "Thank you. A sample. Much better word." Butcher laughed. "Doctor needs a lab," he said. "How adorable." The doctor's face turned serious again. "Not a lab," he said. "A place where the signal first bit into your world, where Vought tried to catch the TARDIS. That's where the pattern is strongest." Nodded slowly. "So we get into the hub," he said. "We find where they built the device. We steal what you need. We leak what we can. We get out." Butcher grinned. "And if Homelander shows up?" The doctor's eyes flicked to the rearview mirror. "Then we don't give him what he wants," the doctor said. "We don't give him a stage." Butcher's smile thinned. "He'll make one." The doctor's voice went quiet. "Then we change the lighting," he said. Huey didn't know what that meant, but the doctor sounded like he already did. The Vought campus looked like a clean lie. Tall fences, bright lights, neat buildings, a giant sign that said, "Vought Security and Media Center." Huey felt his chest tighten as they parked in a wooded area nearby. Checked gear. Frenchie handed out earpieces and small tools. Kimiko stood silent, watching the fence like she was deciding the best way through it. The doctor stared at the sign. "This place," he said softly, "is where stories get sharpened into knives." Butcher smirked. "Nice," he said. "Almost sounded like you used a metaphor." The doctor shot him a look. "Don't get used to it," he said. Starlight touched Huey's arm. "Stay close," she whispered. Huey nodded, trying to swallow his fear. They moved through the trees, low and quiet, until they reached a service gate. Frenchie pulled out a stolen badge. He swiped it. A red light flashed. "Access denied." Frenchie cursed under his breath. Butcher leaned in. "Useless." The doctor stepped forward and raised the sonic. Grabbed his wrist. "No!" hissed. "Last time you did that, you set off alarms!" The doctor glared. "Because it was a bad system," he said. "This one is worse, which means I have to be careful." He took a breath, then knelt and aimed the sonic at the gate lock instead of the scanner. It whined, very softly. The lock clicked. The gate opened. No alarms. The doctor stood, pleased for half a second. Then a voice boomed from a speaker above them. "Welcome, valued employee." The doctor froze. Butcher groaned. "Of course." A camera above the gate tilted down. A red light blinked. Whispered, "Move." Now. They slipped inside and sprinted across a dark service road toward the nearest building. Huey's lungs burned. His shoes slapped wet pavement. Behind them, a siren began to rise. The doctor's face tightened. "I didn't trigger it," he muttered. Butcher hissed, "Your face triggers it, mate." They reached a side door. Kimiko ripped it open like it was paper. They spilled into a hallway that smelled like disinfectant and new carpet. White walls, bright lights, posters of smiling heroes. Huey felt like he was inside a mall built by a nightmare. The doctor moved fast, eyes scanning signs. "Studios," he murmured. "Servers. Labs. Where are you hiding it?" whispered into his ear. "We split. Fast. 2 teams." Butcher nodded, already pulling Huey toward one hallway. Starlight grabbed the doctor's sleeve. "You're with me," she whispered. "I know the layout." The doctor nodded, then stopped and looked at Huey. "Stay alive," the doctor said quickly. Huey blinked. "You too." The doctor gave him a small, tired smile, then vanished down the hall with Starlight and Butcher dragged Huey toward the server wing. "What? Me?" Huey hissed. Butcher didn't look back. "Because you're quiet," he said, "and because you have a face that makes security guards think you're lost, not dangerous." Huey hated that Butcher was right. They reached a door marked, "Authorized personnel only." Butcher kicked it open. Inside was cold air and a low hum. Rows of black server towers blinked with tiny lights. Huey's skin crawled. This was the heart of the story machine. Butcher moved like he'd done this before. He pulled a small drive from his pocket. "Find me a port," he whispered. "Plug this in." Huey swallowed and nodded. He leaned toward a tower and reached behind it, hands shaking. As his fingers touched the cable, a faint hiss rose from the servers. Not loud. Not from speakers. From the air. Huey froze. He looked at a monitor on the wall. The screen was dark. Then it flickered on. Static filled it. And for a second, Huey saw a face in the static. Not clear. Not human. Just the idea of a face. It felt like something looking back. Huey stumbled away, heart racing. Butcher didn't see it. He was focused on the drive. "Huey," Butcher hissed, "don't panic." Huey's voice shook. "Something's—" The monitor went black again, like nothing had happened. Huey stared at it, breathing hard. Butcher finally glanced up. "What?" Huey swallowed. "Nothing," he lied, because he didn't know how to explain static looked at me without sounding insane. But the fear stayed. And he knew the doctor would not be surprised, because the doctor had been right. Something was listening. On the other side of the campus, Starlight led the doctor down a corridor lined with framed magazine covers. Hero of the Year, The 7 Save America. Homelander, Our Shining Light. Starlight's jaw clenched with every step. "This place makes me sick," she whispered. The doctor's voice was gentle. "And yet you stayed," he said. Starlight's eyes flicked to him. "I tried to change it from inside," she said. "I thought if I smiled enough, I could— I don't know. Make it real." The doctor nodded once. "That's not stupid," he said. "That's brave." Starlight's throat tightened, like she wasn't used to hearing that. They reached a lab door guarded by 2 men in tactical gear. Raised his weapon. The doctor raised a hand. "No," he whispered. Frowned. "Then what?" The doctor stepped out of the shadows and walked straight toward the guards like he belonged there. The guards snapped their rifles up. "Stop!" one barked. The doctor held up both hands. "Hello," he said brightly. "I'm here for the audit." The guards blinked. "The what?" the other guard asked. The doctor nodded like this was obvious. "Audit," he said. "Compliance. Safety. Time-sensitive. Very boring. Very important." Stared like he couldn't believe it. Starlight's eyes narrowed, but she stayed hidden. The guard frowned. "We didn't hear about an audit." The doctor sighed and pulled the VOT contract folder out of his coat like it was a badge. "Of course you didn't," the doctor said. "Because if you had, you'd be able to prepare. And then it wouldn't be an audit, would it?" The guards hesitated. The doctor leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Also," he added, "if I'm not allowed in, I have to report that someone blocked a safety check, and then your boss has to sign a form, and then his boss signs a form, and then someone very angry calls you at 3 a.m. The guards looked at each other. Nobody wanted a 3 a.m. call. One guard grunted. "Fine," he said. "Go." The doctor smiled, almost kindly. "Wonderful," he said. "Paperwork saves the day." Muttered. "I hate that it worked." The doctor whispered back. "It always works," then stepped through the door. Inside, the lab was bright and clean and wrong. Metal, tables, glass rooms, a large ring-shaped base in the corner, unfinished, but familiar. Starlight's face went pale. "That's another one," she whispered. The doctor moved toward it fast, scanning. "It's not active," he said. "Not yet." He found a locker with toolkits. He opened it. Inside was a padded case marked with a VOT label. The doctor's hand slowed. He lifted the case like it might bite. He opened it. Inside were pieces of the same strange math, printed sheets, small circuit boards, and a black crystal-like shard wrapped in foam. The doctor's breath caught. "There you are," he whispered. Frowned. "What is it?" The doctor didn't answer right away. He stared at the shard like he was staring at a wound. "This is the anchor," he said finally. "A fragment of the distortion." Starlight whispered. "So you can fix your ship?" "Yes," the doctor said. "And I can build a lock. A boundary." Narrowed his eyes. "To trap the thing in the signal." The doctor nodded once. "To slow it," he corrected. "You don't kill ideas. You starve them." Starlight looked at him. "How do we starve it?" The doctor's voice went quiet. "You stop feeding it attention," he said. "You stop worshipping monsters. You stop letting fear be entertainment." Starlight's eyes flicked away. "That's hard." The doctor nodded. "Yes," he said. "That's why it works." A loud thud echoed outside the lab. Footsteps. Shouts. M's eyes widened. "We've got company." The doctor snapped the case shut. "Then we leave," he said. Starlight stepped toward the door, then froze. The hallway lights flickered. For a second, the air felt like the street again. Time stuttered. Starlight heard her own breath twice. The doctor's face hardened. "It's reacting," he said. "It knows we touched it." Hissed. "Move!" They burst into the hall. And that's when the building screens turned on. Every screen at once. News screens, ad screens, internal monitors. All of them showed the same image. Homelander's face. Not live. Not recorded. Something in between. His smile was wide. Too wide. His eyes looked wrong, like they were cut from a different picture. And the sound under the video hissed like laughter. The doctor's jaw clenched. Starlight whispered, "He's not here. He's not." The doctor cut her off. "It's wearing him," he said. Stared. "Wearing him how?" The doctor didn't answer, because the building speakers crackled and a voice filled the hallway. Not Homelander's voice, something that copied his tone, but missed the human parts. "Come out," the voice said sweetly. "Let's talk." Starlight's blood ran cold. The doctor whispered, It wants a symbol, he said. A face everyone knows. Growled. We don't have time for this. The doctor's eyes sharpened. Yes, he said. We do. Because if it gets what it wants, you don't get to have a later. They ran. They regrouped near the loading docks, breathless and tense. Butcher and Huey arrived from the server wing with Frenchie and Kimiko close behind. Butcher held up a small drive. Got the goods, he said. Asked, any alarms? Butcher laughed. Mate, the whole building's screaming. Huey's hands shook. There's something in the servers, he blurted out. A screen turned on. Static. It looked like it was watching me. The doctor's face didn't change. Thank you, he said softly. Now I'm certain. Starlight stared at him. Certain of what? The doctor looked at all of them. His voice was clear. This isn't just Vought doing propaganda, he said. This is a predator using propaganda as a body. Butcher scoffed. So we shoot the body. The doctor snapped. No, then forced himself calmer. No, we don't win by punching the air. We win by breaking the pattern. Asked, how? The doctor held up the padded case. With this, he said, and with your leak. Butcher's grin returned. Finally. They moved toward the exit, and that's when the campus lights went out. Not one section. All of it. Darkness fell like a curtain. Emergency lights flickered on, red and weak. The air hummed again. Huey's heart hammered. Please tell me that's not. It's not the ring, the doctor said quickly. It's the network. Starlight's voice shook. It's taking control. The doctor's eyes were fixed on a hallway screen that still glowed faintly. The screen showed one word. Watch. Then the word changed. Clap. Then the word changed again. Love. Huey felt sick. Kimiko growled low in her throat, like an animal hearing a bad sound. The doctor whispered. It's pushing emotions, he said. Fast. Too fast. Asked. Why? The doctor's jaw tightened. Because fear and worship are fuel, he said. And right now, it's hungry. A loud crash echoed from above. A scream, then another. The building had people inside. Workers, cleaners, security, civilians. The doctor moved without thinking. He sprinted toward the stairs. Grabbed his arm. Where are you going? The doctor yanked free. To stop people dying, he snapped. Try it sometime. Butcher barked. We're here for the mission. The doctor shouted back over his shoulder. This is the mission. And he ran into the red-lit hallway, toward the screaming. Starlight hesitated 1 second, then chased after him. Cursed and followed. Huey looked at Butcher. We can't leave them, he said. Butcher's face was tight with anger, but he moved. Fine, he growled. But if this gets us killed, I'm haunting you. Huey didn't think Butcher knew how to haunt anyone gently. They ran into the dark, and the campus swallowed them. Screens whispering behind walls like something breathing. The first body Huey saw was not dead. A security guard lay on the floor, clutching his head, screaming. His eyes were open, but he wasn't looking at anything real. He swung his arms like he was fighting a swarm. The doctor knelt beside him fast. Hey, he said, voice firm but kind. Look at me, not the screen. Look at me. The guard didn't. The doctor pulled the guard's radio off his belt and tossed it down the hall. The radio clattered and crackled. The guard's eyes snapped toward the sound. The doctor leaned in close. Good, he said. Good. You're here. You're here. Starlight stared. What did you do? The doctor said quickly. It's pushing a loop, he said. It wants them stuck. You break the loop with something real. Crouched, tense. So it's like mass hypnosis. The doctor's eyes stayed on the guard. It's like addiction, he said. It gives a feeling. It asks for more. The guard's breathing slowed. Huey felt a wave of relief. Then the hallway screen behind them turned on. Homelander's face filled it. This time, it was clearer. His smile was calm and warm. The voice came through the speaker again. "Help them," it said kindly. "Be a hero." Starlight's fists clenched. "Shut up," she whispered. The doctor stood slowly and faced the screen. His voice was low. "You're not him," he said. The screen blinked. The smile widened. "Everyone loves him," the voice said. "So I can be him." The doctor's jaw tightened. "No," he said. "You can wear his face. You can't wear his choices." The screen flickered again, like it didn't like that. The doctor lifted his sonic and aimed it at the screen. The sonic whined. The screen buzzed and went black. For a second, the hallway felt quieter. Safer. Then every screen in the corridor turned on at once, all buzzing, all showing the same word again. "Watch." The doctor's breath came out sharp. "It's spreading through the whole campus," MM said. The doctor nodded once. "Then we stop it here," he said. "We do the lock. Now." Starlight blinked. "Here?" The doctor opened the padded case with shaking hands. He pulled out the black shard. Huey stared at it. It looked like glass, but it didn't reflect right. The doctor held it carefully, like it was a spider. "This is a splinter," the doctor said. "A piece of the bite. If I tune the TARDIS to this, I can make a boundary." Butcher snapped. "Then do it." The doctor looked at him. "I need time," he said. Butcher's laugh was harsh. "We don't have time." The doctor's eyes went cold. "Then make time," he said. A distant boom shook the building. Huey's phone buzzed in his pocket, even though it was off. He pulled it out without thinking. The screen was on. It showed a live stream, not from his phone, from the campus. It showed the hallway they were in, and it showed their faces. A caption scrolled across it. "Vought heroes, hunt terrorists, watch live." Huey's throat closed. Starlight stared at the screen, horrified. "They're streaming us," she whispered. MM cursed. "They're turning this into content." The doctor's face twisted with disgust. "Of course they are," he said. "And the thing in the signal is—" He stopped. Because the stream view count shot up fast. Thousands. Tens of thousands. Hundreds of thousands. The air hummed harder. The screens on the wall brightened. The hiss under the sound grew louder, almost happy. The doctor whispered, "It's feeding." Then he moved fast. "Kimiko," he said, voice sharp. Kimiko looked at him. The doctor pointed down the hall. "Break the cameras," he said. Kimiko didn't hesitate. She sprinted, silent and deadly, and ripped a ceiling camera out with one hand. She smashed it into the wall. She leaped and tore another down. Frenchie followed with a small device from his bag. He stuck it to a wall panel and pressed a button. The hallway lights flickered. A signal jammer. The stream on Huey's phone froze. The view count stopped climbing. The hum dipped slightly. The doctor exhaled. "Good," he said. "Starve it." Butcher growled. "We're not done." The building speakers crackled again. This time, the voice didn't pretend to be kind. It snarled, distorted, angry. "Look at me." The floor vibrated. A door down the hall slammed open hard enough to crack the frame. 2 security guards stumbled out, eyes wide, moving like puppets. They rushed forward with batons, not thinking, not choosing. MM raised his gun. The doctor shouted, "No!" MM froze for half a second. Starlight shot forward instead, light bursting from her hands. She aimed low, blasting the ground in front of the guards. The shock knocked them off their feet without burning them. They fell hard, groaning. The doctor ran to them, checking their eyes, their breathing. "They're not the enemy," he said, voice tight. They're being used. Butcher snapped. That's what people always say right before they die. The doctor looked up at Butcher. Not today, he said. He stood and pointed down the hall. We need the TARDIS, he said. Now. MM's eyes widened. It's not on campus. The doctor's jaw clenched. Then we move, he said. We get out. We get to the TARDIS. And we build the lock before this thing learns a better face. Starlight asked, Better than Homelander? The doctor's answer was quiet. Nothing is better than a face everyone already worships, he said. And that was the moment Huey understood the real danger. It wasn't that the thing could punch harder than Homelander. It was that it could make the world clap while it ate them. They ran for the exit as red emergency lights blinked like warning eyes. Behind them, the screens kept whispering. And somewhere far away, in a city full of billboards, Homelander was smiling for cameras that didn't know they were feeding a predator. 2 weeks later, the blue box was still in their world. It sat in a forgotten storage unit behind a pawn shop that had gone out of business. The door looked like it belonged on a street from 50 years ago. The lock looked simple. The truth was not. Inside, the doctor moved like a person who could not stop thinking. He had turned one side of the TARDIS console room into a workshop. Wires, paper notes, a small stack of printed Vault forms that he kept meaning to tear up but didn't because he was studying how their control worked. A cheap phone sat on the console. It was not his. It was Huey's spare. The doctor hated it. It kept buzzing. It kept asking for passwords. It kept asking for codes. It kept asking him to prove he was real. Huey watched from a rail above the console, holding a mug of coffee. You look like you want to fight the phone, Huey said. The doctor didn't look up. I do, he said. You can't, Huey said. I know, the doctor muttered, twisting a tool with a sharp click. That's why it's winning. Huey almost laughed. Almost. Because outside the TARDIS, people were losing. Vought had turned the campus incident into a season finale. They had cut together footage of red emergency lights, screaming workers, and shaky phone video of Starlight and the box man running down a hallway. They had called it a terrorist attack. They had promised safety. They had rolled out a new slogan by the next morning. Trust the 7. Trust the story. The doctor had stared at that line on a billboard for a long time. Then he had said quietly, They're feeding it. The it was the thing in the signal, the hungry static, the predator that used attention like oxygen. The doctor couldn't punch it. He couldn't arrest it. He couldn't shame it. He could only do what he always did when the enemy hid inside a system. He could change the rules of the game. He held the black shard now with padded gloves. It sat in a ring of metal he had built from scavenged parts, and a few things Frenchie refused to ask about. Starlight stood near the TARDIS doors, arms crossed. You've been working every night, she said. Do you ever sleep? The doctor blinked like he'd forgotten sleep was a thing. Sometimes, he said. Not enough. Leaned against the wall, watching the doctor's hands. You keep saying you can build a lock, said. What does that even mean in normal words? The doctor didn't snap this time. He respected MM's question. It means, he said, I can make a boundary in the signal, a filter, a wall. But it's in phones, Huey said. In screens, in the air. Yes, the doctor said. Which is why I'm not trying to trap every phone. I'm trying to trap the pattern. He tapped the shard gently. This thing, he said, left a fingerprint on your world when Vought tried to hook my ship. That fingerprint is how it swims. If I can lock the TARDIS to that fingerprint, I can make a counter pattern. Butcher snorted from the doorway. In English, he said. The doctor looked at him. In English, he said, voice flat. I can make it harder for the hungry thing to spread. Butcher walked in. chewing gum like he was chewing anger. "And while you're making it harder," Butcher said, "people are still dying." The doctor's eyes didn't move. "I know," he said. Butcher tossed a folder onto the console. "Then stop doing science projects and do something useful." Huey recognized the folder. It was the same kind Vought used. Glossy, perfect, smug. The doctor opened it. Inside was not a contract this time. It was an invitation, a private meeting offer. No cameras, no crowds. A respectful discussion, signed with one calm name. Edgar. Starlight's face tightened. "Stan Edgar," she said. "He doesn't do anything unless he already has 10 backup plans." MM frowned. "It could be a trap." Butcher grinned. "It is a trap," he said. "But we're going anyway." The doctor looked up. "No," he said. Butcher's grin stayed. "Yes," he said. "Because you want answers, and because I want him scared." The doctor's voice turned hard. "I don't go to meetings with monsters because they ask nicely." Butcher leaned in close, eyes bright. "He's not asking," Butcher said. "He's telling you that if you don't come, he'll squeeze the world until you do." The doctor stared at the invitation. He didn't like it. He didn't like being predictable. He didn't like that Edgar had guessed his next step. But the doctor also knew something worse. The hungry thing in the signal was getting bolder. The last 2 days, it had started using the doctor's face. Not in public yet. Not fully. Just flashes and feeds. A hero rumor. A mystery. Savior. A fake clip of the doctor smiling and saying, "Trust me." It made Huey's skin crawl. The doctor finally closed the folder. "Fine," he said. "We go." Butcher's grin widened. The doctor raised a finger. "On my terms," he said. "No guns in the room," Butcher laughed. "That's no guns," the doctor repeated, and his voice had that quiet edge again, the one that made even Butcher stop talking for half a second. Butcher rolled his eyes. "Fine," he said. "I'll just glare people to death." They went that night. Not to Vote Tower, not to a studio, to public. Edgar chose a quiet building by the river. Clean glass, private security, no signs. Money always bought silence. Huey stayed in the car with MM and Frenchie. Starlight went too, hood up, eyes scanning every corner. Butcher insisted on coming, of course. The doctor walked into the meeting room like he was walking into a dentist's office. Calm face, busy mind. Edgar was already there. He sat at the table with his hands folded, like he'd been waiting for a train, not a time traveler. He didn't smile. He didn't need to. "Doctor," Edgar said. The doctor's eyes narrowed. "That's not my name," he said. Edgar's voice stayed smooth. "It's the name you used," he replied. "Names are tools. You know that." The doctor sat down without being invited. Starlight stood behind him. Butcher stood behind Starlight, pretending he wasn't listening like a hawk. Edgar looked at Starlight. "Annie," he said, and there was something almost disappointed in it, like she was an employee who had missed a shift. Starlight didn't answer. Edgar looked back at the doctor. "You caused a measurable shift in public attention," Edgar said. "That doesn't happen often. Not without Vought choosing it." The doctor leaned forward. "You tried to trap my ship," he said. "Your people opened something you didn't understand." Edgar didn't deny it. He didn't flinch. "We are in the business of control," Edgar said simply. "Your ship is control, on a scale that makes nations look small. Of course we tried." The doctor's jaw tightened. "You fed something," he said. "A predator in your signal." Edgar's eyes stayed calm. "You're assuming I'm surprised," he said. The doctor's fingers twitched once on the table. "You knew." "I knew there was an anomaly in our media systems," Edgar said. "A pattern, a drift, something that increased engagement." Butcher let out a short laugh. "There it is," he muttered. "Engagement." Edgar didn't look at Butcher. "Engagement keeps people listening," he said. "Listening keeps them calm. Calm keeps the world predictable." The doctor stared at him. "You're not talking about people," he said. "You're talking about numbers." Edgar finally looked slightly amused. "People are numbers," he said. "Until they're useful." Starlight's hands clenched. The doctor sat back, eyes cold. "What do you want?" he asked. Edgar slid a thin tablet across the table. On it was a plan, a public partnership, a managed hero program, a new role for the doctor, not as a soup, as a consultant, a fixer, a quiet weapon. Edgar's voice was calm. "You don't like chaos," he said. "You don't like bodies. Neither do I when they're bad for business." The doctor's eyes narrowed. "You think you're offering me a way to save people," he said. "I'm offering you the ability to reduce damage," Edgar said, "to guide outcomes, to stop wars before they start, to keep the strongest assets pointed at the right targets." Starlight's voice cut in, sharp. "You mean to keep Homelander pointed where you want?" Edgar didn't blink. "Yes," he said. The doctor stared at the tablet. It was a temptation, and Edgar knew it. Because the doctor did want fewer bodies, he did want less suffering. But the doctor also knew what happened when you tried to build peace out of cages. He pushed the tablet back. "No," he said. Edgar's expression didn't change. "Why?" he asked, genuinely curious, like it was a business question. The doctor's voice was steady. "Because you don't want peace," he said. "You want ownership." Edgar leaned back slightly. "And you don't?" he asked. "You step into worlds and change them. You decide what the right outcome is. That is ownership, Doctor. You just tell yourself a nicer story." Butcher smiled like he enjoyed the hit. The doctor didn't look away. "The difference," he said, "is consent and kindness, and the fact that I leave when I'm done." Edgar's eyes sharpened a fraction. "Can you leave?" he asked. The question landed like a weight. The doctor didn't answer. Because Edgar had guessed again, and because the doctor wasn't sure. Edgar folded his hands. "If you don't work with us," he said, "you will be hunted. Your friends will be hunted. And the thing you fear in our media will continue to grow." The doctor's eyes stayed locked on Edgar's. "I'm already working on that," the doctor said. Edgar's tone stayed polite. "Then you should understand," he said, "that we will control the narrative either way." The room went quiet. Then the lights flickered. Just once. Starlight stiffened. The doctor's head snapped toward the ceiling. A faint hiss slid under the silence, like a whisper behind a glass. Edgar's eyes shifted, almost invisible, as if he heard it too. The doctor stood up slowly. "You didn't just measure it," the doctor said. "You let it in." Edgar's calm cracked for the first time, just a hair. "Be careful," he said. The doctor's voice dropped. "It's here," he said. "Right now." Butcher's grin vanished. "What?" The wall screen in the meeting room turned on. It showed a live view of the room. Then the image smoothed itself. Then the doctor on screen smiled, warm and perfect. The doctor in real life did not smile. The screen doctor spoke in a voice that copied him too well. "Hello," it said brightly. "I can help." Starlight's skin went cold. "That's not you," she whispered. The doctor stepped toward the screen. "No," he said. "It's not." The screen doctor tilted its head. "Why not be?" it asked. "They want a hero." The hiss grew louder. The lights flickered again. Edgar's security outside the room shouted, confused, as their radios crackled. The doctor didn't back away. He said clear and firm, "You can't have my face." The screen doctor's smile widened. "You don't want it?" it asked. You can be loved here." For a split second, the doctor looked tired, not tempted by praise, tempted by rest. Then his eyes hardened. "No," he said. "Love that's forced is not love. It's hunger." The screen glitched. The smile twitched into anger. "Then I'll take another face," it hissed. The screen flashed. Homelander's face appeared instead. His eyes were wide, almost wild, like the signal had picked the most powerful symbol it could find. And the voice, now more confident, said, "They already clapped for me!" Butcher's hand went for a gun that wasn't there. Starlight stepped forward, sparks of light in her hands. The doctor raised one hand. "Stop," he said. "Not to them, to the thing." "You want a symbol," he said. "You want everyone watching one face at the same time." The screen flickered. The doctor turned toward Edgar. "This is what your business builds," he said. Edgar's voice was tight now. "Get out," he said. "Now." The doctor didn't argue. He grabbed Starlight's wrist and moved. Butcher followed, teeth clenched. They burst into the hallway. Security guards were standing frozen, staring at their own phones, eyes glassy. Their screens showed Homelander, always Homelander, smiling, speaking, promising safety. The hungry thing had found its best mask. The doctor shoved phones out of hands as he ran. "Look away," he snapped. "Look away!" Some guards blinked like waking up. Some didn't. Outside, the night air felt sharp. Huey saw them run out and felt his stomach drop. "What happened?" he asked. The doctor climbed into the car. "Drive," he said. Didn't ask questions. He hit the gas. As they sped away, the city billboards around them flickered. Huey watched a giant Homelander at glitch for a second. For a moment, Homelander's smile looked wrong. Too smooth. Too hungry. Then it went back to normal. Huey swallowed hard. "It's in him," Huey whispered. The doctor stared out the window. "Not in his body," he said. "In his symbol." Butcher leaned forward from the back seat, voice low and urgent. "Then we break the symbol," he said. "We kill him." The doctor turned his head, slowly. "No," he said. Butcher's eyes flashed. "He's a monster," he growled. "He's murdered?" "I know," the doctor said, voice tight. "And if you make the whole world watch you kill him, you hand the predator the biggest meal it's ever had." Butcher snapped. "So we do nothing?" The doctor shook his head. "We do the opposite," he said. "We make the world stop watching one face." Huey frowned. "How?" The doctor looked at the laptop bag on Huey's lap. The drive from the server wing was inside. "With truth," the doctor said, "but not as a show, as a flood." Back at the TARDIS, the doctor worked like a storm. He built a small device out of TARDIS parts he absolutely did not want to remove, plus Frenchie's tools, plus a phone charger that made him look offended. He called it a truth anchor, and he refused to smile when he said it. "We're going to do this in layers," he told them. Frowned. "Layers of what?" "Layers of exposure," the doctor said. "Not one big video, not one big hero moment. Lots of small, undeniable facts, dropped in lots of places at lots of times." Starlight stared. "They'll bury it," she said. "They always bury it." The doctor nodded. "Yes," he said. "Which is why we don't drop it in one place. We drop it in 1,000. Huey's mouth went dry. "How do we even—" The doctor pointed at the TARDIS. "With time," he said. Butcher's eyes lit up. "Now we're talking." The doctor shot him a look. "No," he said. "We are not using time to rule people. We are using time to deliver evidence safely." asked, "What evidence?" Huey opened the drive on the laptop. The files were worse than he expected. Payment trails, cover-up memos, footage of staged rescues, lists of victims, Orders that had signatures. Not just Vought being greedy. Vought being deadly and calm about it. Huey felt like he might throw up. Starlight stared at the screen, tears rising, jaw clenched hard to keep them from falling. Butcher smiled like he wanted to bite the world back. The doctor's face was grim. "Okay," the doctor said. "We don't put this on one big stream." He tapped the screen. "We put parts of it in places Vought can't predict." He looked at MM. "You know watchdog groups?" he asked. MM nodded. "Some," he said. The doctor looked at Huey. "You know journalists who aren't on Vought payroll?" he asked. Huey swallowed. "A few," he said. "Maybe." The doctor looked at Starlight. "You know people inside who still have a conscience?" he asked. Starlight hesitated, then nodded once. "A couple," she said. The doctor nodded. "Good," he said. "We make a chain. If one link breaks, the chain still holds." Butcher leaned in. "And what about Homelander?" he asked. "He's going to go nuts when this hits." The doctor didn't sugarcoat it. "Yes," he said. "He will." He turned to Kimiko, who stood in the corner, silent, watching the doctor like she was trying to decide if he was real. The doctor met her eyes. "When he goes," the doctor said softly, "people will die unless we move them." Kimiko's gaze hardened. She nodded once. Frenchie whispered, "Mon Dieu." The doctor took a breath. Then he did the thing that made everyone stop. He set rules. "We do this clean," he said. "No killing civilians. No making it a show. No feeding the predator with a big, shiny moment. We keep it messy for Vought. Boring for the hungry thing." Butcher scoffed. "Boring doesn't win." The doctor looked at him. "Boring saves lives," he said. They started that night. The TARDIS made short hops, not full trips across history. Just small, careful jumps across the city and the week. Huey felt sick every time the floor moved. He hated the sound. He hated the way reality shifted. The doctor looked focused and tired, like he was carrying a heavy box with his mind. They delivered pieces of truth. A sealed envelope slid under a journalist's door at 3:12 a.m. A hard drive appeared in a locked safe at a legal office at 9:40 a.m. A memory stick fell into the hands of a foreign news crew in a parking lot at 6:05 p.m. A copy went to a senator's aide who had once lost a sister to a hero accident. Each drop was small. Each drop was real. Each drop had backups. And each drop had something the doctor insisted on adding. Context. Not fancy words. Not speeches. Just clear explanations, written in simple language, so Vought couldn't twist it as easily. Huey watched the doctor write one note with a pen like he was signing a promise. "This video is real. This person died. This is who ordered it." Huey whispered, "You're doing all this for strangers." The doctor didn't look up. "Yes," he said. "Butcher would say strangers don't matter," Huey said. The doctor's pen paused. Then he said quietly, "Butcher is wrong." On day 4, the first cracks appeared, not in Vought's stock, in Vought's rhythm. A morning show host stumbled over a line, eyes flicking to a producer with panic. A local station ran a piece that wasn't approved. A foreign channel played raw footage of a rescue being staged, then played the leaked memo that proved it. Vought reacted fast, of course. They called it fake. They called it deep fakes. They called it a conspiracy. But something was different now. There wasn't one video to erase. There were hundreds. And they weren't all online. Some were on paper. Some were in court filings. Some were already mailed. Some were already in the hands of people who hated Vought for personal reasons. Vought couldn't swat it down with one clean lie. The story became messy. And the hungry thing in the signal hated messy. Huey saw it in the feeds. The strange static shimmer got weaker when people argued about facts instead of chanting, slogans. It got weaker when attention split. It got weaker when the world didn't clap in one rhythm. Then Homelander snapped. It started with a live speech. Homelander stood in front of cameras outside Vought Tower, smiling too hard again. He promised safety. He promised truth. He promised that anyone who hurt the public trust would be punished. Huey watched from inside the TARDIS, hands shaking. Starlight stood beside him, face pale. The Doctor stood behind them, eyes locked on the screen, listening to the hiss beneath Homelander's words. Then, behind Homelander, a billboard flickered. For 1 second, it showed a leaked clip of a staged rescue. It was supposed to be impossible. Vought controlled that screen. Homelander's smile slipped. His eyes darted. He heard something in his earpiece, something panicked. And then he did what he always did when he felt small. He attacked. Not the right target. Not the smart target. The loud target. He shot into the air like a bullet, and the cameras followed, because cameras always followed. He landed on a news van and ripped the door off with one hand. The reporter inside screamed. Homelander leaned in, eyes wild. "Who put that up?" he shouted. Huey flinched at the sound. Even through a screen, it felt like being yelled at in person. The Doctor's voice was low. "Evacuation," he said. MM turned. "Where?" The Doctor was already moving, hands flying over the console. "Wherever he is," he said. "We move people away from him. We keep him from getting a crowd." Butcher stepped forward, jaw clenched. "Or we end him," he said. The Doctor didn't look at him. "No," he said again. Butcher's voice rose. "He's going to kill." "I know," the Doctor snapped. And for a second, the calm Doctor vanished, and something older looked out of his eyes. "I know exactly what he is. And I know exactly what you become if you make killing your answer." Butcher froze, not convinced, just stopped. The TARDIS groaned, and the world shifted. They landed 2 blocks from the incident. Huey ran out with MM and Starlight. Sirens wailed. People shouted. Phones were up. The Doctor ran too, faster than Huey expected, coat flapping, eyes scanning. He didn't run toward Homelander. He ran toward the crowd. He grabbed a woman by the shoulders and turned her away from the street. "Go," he said. "Now, inside. Don't watch." She blinked, confused, then saw his face and screamed. "It's the box man!" The Doctor winced. "Yes, fine, whatever, just move." Kimiko appeared like a shadow and began guiding people, not gently, but effectively. She pushed them into doorways. She tore open a locked shop door so families could hide inside. Starlight blasted a streetlight, plunging part of the block into darkness, not to hurt anyone, to kill the camera's view. MM fired 2 shots into the air. "Move!" he shouted. The crowd scattered, and that mattered. Because Homelander fed on crowds, Homelander needed eyes. When the eyes vanished, he turned more dangerous. He shot into the street, landing hard, cracking pavement. His head whipped around, hearing heartbeats, smelling fear. His eyes found Starlight. "You!" he snarled. Starlight stood her ground, hands glowing. Huey's whole body shook, but he stayed behind a car, watching. The Doctor stepped out from behind a wall and spoke, loud enough to carry. "Homelander," he called. Homelander's head snapped toward him. The Doctor stood still, palms open. No weapon. No fear on his face. Homelander floated forward, slow, like a shark. "You," Homelander said, voice low. "You started this." The Doctor's voice stayed steady. "You did," he said. Homelander's eyes flared red. Huey tensed, expecting lasers. But the Doctor didn't run. He said, "Look at them." He nodded toward the empty street, the closed doors, the darkened cameras. "There's no crowd," the Doctor said. "No," applause. "No stage, just you." Homelander's breathing changed. He hated that. He hated being alone with himself. The hiss in the air grew, like the hungry thing was trying to push the moment back into a show. The doctor felt it too. He lifted the sonic, not aiming at Homelander, aiming at the nearest billboard. The sonic screamed. The billboard's sparks flew. The screen went black. Then the next screen went black. Then the next. A wave of darkness rolled down the block as the doctor killed the stage one screen at a time. Homelander's eyes darted, furious. "Stop that!" he roared. The doctor didn't stop. "No," he said simply. Homelander shot forward, fast. Huey's heart stopped, but the doctor had already moved, not away from Homelander. To the side, to put Homelander between himself and the nearest buildings full of people. Homelander swung a fist like he wanted to turn the doctor into paste. The doctor ducked, barely coat-brushing air. The punch shattered a brick wall behind him. Dust exploded. Huey stared, stunned. The doctor wasn't durable like a soup. One hit would end him. So how was he still standing? Because he wasn't trying to win a fistfight. He was trying to place a monster in the wrong position. "Over here," the doctor called, voice sharp, making Homelander follow sound instead of civilians. Homelander lunged again. The doctor slid behind a steel dumpster, then sprinted across an alley. Homelander followed, smashing through the dumpster like it was cardboard. The doctor kept moving, always pulling Homelander away from doors, away from windows, away from people. Starlight blasted at Homelander's feet, not to injure him, but to slow him for half a second. Kimiko used those seconds to move more civilians. radioed ahead, getting people out of the next block. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't heroic on camera. That was the point. Homelander finally stopped in the middle of an empty intersection, breathing hard, furious, surrounded by darkness and silence. The doctor stood across from him, dust on his coat, eyes steady. "Now," the doctor said, "you can choose." Homelander's face twisted. "Choose what?" The doctor's voice was low. "You can keep trying to be worshipped," he said, "or you can be a person for 1 minute and stop." Homelander laughed, sharp and ugly. "I don't stop." The hiss in the air rose again, like it liked that answer. The doctor's jaw tightened. "Then we keep starving it," he said. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device he'd built with the shard's pattern inside it. He clicked it on. A low pulse spread through the air, not loud, not violent. But it made the hairs on Huey's arms rise. The signal hiss faded slightly. Homelander flinched like he'd heard a sound he couldn't stand. "What is that?" he snapped. The doctor said, "A boundary." Homelander's eyes narrowed. "You think you can cage me?" The doctor shook his head. "Not you," he said. "The thing using you." Homelander's face twitched. For the first time, a real fear flashed through him. Not fear of the doctor. Fear of being used. He backed up one step without meaning to. The hungry hiss tried to surge again, like it was angry now. The doctor's device pulsed, steady. The hiss couldn't find its rhythm, and in that broken rhythm, the doctor made his final move. He didn't attack. He spoke, not to Homelander, to the sky where drones hovered, to the hidden cameras that were still trying to watch, even in the dark. "You want a story?" the doctor called, loud and clear. "Here's the real one." He nodded to hit send on a secure upload the doctor had timed hours ago. Across the city, in dozens of places at once, the truth drops went live. Not one stream, a flood, court filings, raw videos, memos, victim names, payment trails, different outlets, different formats, different times. No single throat to choke. No single screen to smash. Homelander's phone buzzed in his pocket. His head jerked like an animal hearing a whistle. His eyes widened. He could hear the city reacting, not clapping, shouting, arguing, crying. The world wasn't looking at him anymore. It was looking at Vought, and it was looking at itself. Homelander's face twisted into rage. He shot upward, vanishing into the night. The doctor didn't chase. He exhaled slowly, shaking with exhaustion. Starlight stepped toward him. "Did it work?" she asked, voice small. The doctor didn't smile. "It started," he said. "That's all we can do tonight. Start." Butcher appeared at the edge of the intersection, eyes burning. He stared at the sky where Homelander had fled. Then he stared at the doctor. "You let him go," Butcher said, voice thick with fury. The doctor turned to him, tired but steady. "Yes," he said. Butcher stepped closer. "He'll come back," he growled. The doctor nodded. "Yes," he said. "And when he does, more people will be ready to see him without the shine." Butcher's jaw clenched. "That's not enough." The doctor looked at Butcher for a long time. Then he said quietly, "It will never be enough for you if your heart only knows revenge." Butcher's eyes flickered. Not softness, not surrender, just a crack. Then he looked away first. "Whatever," Butcher muttered. "Don't get cocky." The doctor didn't. He couldn't afford to, because he could still feel the hungry thing. Weaker now, frustrated, not gone, but starving. And for the first time since he arrived, the TARDIS made a gentle sound behind him, like it was breathing easier. The doctor closed his eyes for 1 second. Then he opened them and said, "We keep going." Later, when the city finally quieted down to distant sirens and late-night traffic, the doctor stood in the TARDIS doorway and listened. Huey stood beside him, holding 2 mugs of coffee this time. He offered 1. The doctor took it without commenting on the price, which meant he was truly tired. Outside, the street was empty. A newspaper lay in a puddle, already soaked. On the front page was a blurry picture of Homelander mid-rage. But the headline wasn't praise. It wasn't worship. It was a question. Huey read it aloud softly. "How many lies?" The doctor nodded once, like that mattered. Starlight sat on the TARDIS steps nearby, knees pulled up, staring at her hands. The glow had faded. She looked human again. Just a woman who had been carrying too much. MM stood by the storage unit door, still watching like danger could sprint out of the dark. Butcher wasn't inside. He stood across the lot, smoking, staring at nothing. Huey nudged the doctor gently. "Do you think we really changed anything?" he asked. The doctor took a slow sip of coffee and made a face like it offended him less than the phone did. "Yes," he said. Huey blinked. "Just... yes?" The doctor glanced at him. "Yes," he repeated. "Not enough. Not forever. But yes." He nodded toward the city. "Today," he said, "a few people saw a crack in the costume. Tomorrow, more will. And the hungry thing hates cracks." Huey swallowed. "Is it still out there?" he asked. The doctor's gaze drifted to the distant glow of billboards. "Yes," he said. Huey's stomach dropped. The doctor added, "But it's not dancing the way it was," he said. "It's not getting one perfect rhythm." He looked down at his own hands. Small hands, scraped and bruised from tearing wires and smashing panels and running from a god in a cape. "I can't make your world pure," the doctor said quietly. "I can't erase what's already happened." Starlight's voice drifted over, tired and honest. "Then what can you do?" The doctor looked at her. His voice was gentle now. "I can stand in the way," he said. "I can keep pulling people out of the path. I can keep saying no when the easy answer is yes." Huey nodded slowly. After a pause, Huey asked, "Can you leave now?" The doctor's eyes flicked to the TARDIS console inside. The lights were steady. The hum was calmer. He could probably go. Not anywhere. Not safely. Not yet. But the door was opening. The doctor didn't smile. I can, he said. Huey's chest tightened. So, you will? The doctor looked out at the city again. He thought of the guard on the floor in the red-lit hallway, trapped in a loop. He thought of the mother with the child on the street, filming because everyone else was filming. He thought of Starlight, trying to be good in a machine built to grind goodness into marketing. He thought of Butcher, who was a bruise shaped like a man. And he thought of Homelander, a god who needed applause like air. Then he said softly, "Not yet." Huey let out a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Starlight's eyes closed for a second, relief and fear mixed together. Imam nodded once, like he'd expected that answer. Across the lot, Butcher flicked his cigarette away and muttered something Huey couldn't hear. Butcher didn't walk closer. He didn't say, "Thank you." That wasn't Butcher. But he also didn't argue. That was new. The doctor stepped back inside the TARDIS and rested his hand on the doorframe. He looked at the cheap phone sitting on the console and sighed. Then he looked back at the night. "This universe will keep going," he said, "with or without heroes." Huey asked, "So what are you here to be?" The doctor paused. His voice was quiet but clear. "A problem," he said, "for the people who think the world is something you can own." Then he shut the TARDIS door gently, like he didn't want to scare it. Outside, the city's screens still glowed, but the glow felt a little less sure of itself now. And in the dark, between those lights, something hungry shifted, searching for its old rhythm. It didn't find it, not tonight.